So now let's talk about naming acids. Let's talk about naming acids. All right, so acids are basically they're releasing hydrogen ions when they're dissolved in water. That's as far as we're going to get with acids for now. Okay, so acids they release hydrogen. Bam. Binary acids. So binary acids are they're going to contain a hydrogen and a nonmetal. Okay, this is what we're going to do with binary acids. Okay, so when the anion does not have an oxygen, which are oxy acids, which we're going to cover here in a bit. So when the anion does not have an oxygen, you name it as this: hydro blank IC acid. Make sure to throw in that acid at the very end there. Okay, so for example, if we got HCl, right, no oxygen here, we're going to name HCl hydro, and then we have Cl, so chlorine, chlor, right? And then we take out the ending like we've been doing. So instead of using IDE, we use IC, ic. So hydrochloric acid. Make sure to put that acid at the end. Right? What about CN? Right? CN, if you remember, that's a polyatomic ion. Right? So CN, we're going to see that this is cyanide. Cyanide here. So, right, when it comes to actually naming this HCN compound, still the same format, right? This is a format. If it doesn't have oxygen, you're doing this every single time. Right? So this is hydro, and then cyanide, right? But change the ending to cyanide to IC. So hydrocyanic acid. Remember to throw that acid at the end there. Okay? And this is what you're doing with any type of acid that does not have an oxygen. It's the same format. Hydro, blank, whatever that is, acid. And remember to change the ending to IC. Okay? Now, let's say you do have oxygen. All right. So if you do have oxygen, you gotta do a little different, basically. Okay. So oxy acids are basically hydrogen and oxygen. So let's talk about it. Right. If the anion would be named ATE, y'all remember? Y'all gotta remember about polyatomic ions. That's not going away in nomenclature. That does not go away. So if the anion will be named ATE, that means it has more oxygens, right? If it has more oxygens, then you change that ending, all right, to IC, IC, acid. That's what we're doing here. And if the anion, once again, this containing oxygen, if it has ITE, so that's less, right? It's less. So if it has less oxygens, then you're changing the ending to OUS acid. Okay. So if we think about it, right? Let's look here. H2SO4. Okay, so this is an oxy acid as it has hydrogen and it contains an oxygen. Okay, so this is an oxy acid. So in this case, right, I see and I know that SO4 is sulfate. Sulfate, ATE, ATE. So anytime you got an ATE, right, polyatomic ion, you're going to change that ending to IC, ic, acid. Okay, so this sulfate will become sulfuric acid. And then let's look at the other one. H2SO3. So this has less oxygens in this case. It has less oxygens. This is the SO3. We know it's sulfite. Right? Sulfite. ITE. Okay? So since, right, it's sulfite, what we got to do here? What do we have to do here? We're changing the ending from ITE to OUS acid. That's what we're about to do here. Okay, I feel like I'm yelling. It's okay. You know, nomenclature is the thing that always gets people. I do not want this to get y'all. Once you get it, you get it. Okay. Right. So, H2SO3. we're changing this SO3, right, sulfite, to sulfurous OUS acid. That's it. That is literally it. So anytime you got this oxy acid, hydrogen and oxygen, depending on the ending, that's the reason why you have to know those polyatomic ions, y'all. Depending on the ending, that is going to impact your ending for your acid. Once again, if it's ATE, you change it to IC acid. If it's ITE, you change the ending to OUS acid. Okay? Just to throw something out there. Okay, and we kind of see this, I get this more in chem too, but the more oxygens it has, the stronger the acid, okay? So the ick is letting me know, ooh, that's a strong acid there. Ick, it sounds like it. Us, right, OUS, that sounds smooth. All right, so it's a little less, it's not as strong. Still a very dangerous chemical, of course, but it's not an ick. That ick, it just sounds more furious, right? It sounds more stronger and powerful. Ick, right? So if it's an ick, it's a strong acid, okay?